Shalom and welcome to Zatar. This year is entitled What We Must Take Away from Rav Kahane's Life. 34 years. I just observed yesterday. He was gunned down by an Arab while I was speaking in Manhattan, 1990. He was born only 60 years before that, 1930. When he was young, he actually met Jabotinsky. And if I had to summarize a key part of his life that just moved him in everything he did, lo ta'amod al dam re'echa. You cannot sit idly by while other Jews' lives are being trampled. So he first set his sights at the end of the 60s on the poor Jews that were left back in Mattapan, Dorchester, Roxbury, East Brooklyn, Flatbush, where the wealthy Jews moved on. These poor people couldn't get out of their houses because people in the neighborhood were starting it with them, and they were stuck. So he set up the JDL, Jewish Defense League, to go ahead and give them a chance to get out while his guys patrolled to make sure things stayed quiet. Then he went ahead. He saw what's going on, Russian Jews. 3 million people, 3 million Jews that are not allowed out. They were dying physically and spiritually. The big Jewish establishment was doing nothing. There was not one hafganah in 64. There was a student struggle for Soviet Jewry, so they were doing something at least, but nothing real that was making a change. They don't upset the apple cart, just quiet. He said, this is crazy. And said the same establishment a few decades earlier that did nothing for the Jews dying in Auschwitz in Europe. And making crazy protests going Meshuggah for what's going on. It's happening again. So therefore he started with the Afghanot, the protests, and he made sure it became very public. So there'd be pressure on the Russian government. And he saw that Jews worked their way up, and that public schools was a very esteemed job back in the day, teaching in public schools in the New York City system. And then there were other minorities who were saying, no, we want to go ahead and be teaching also. We want rights too. He said, what do you mean? It goes based on merit. You can't just push Jews out. Get to have the merit, develop your career like the Jews did. He fought for them there. Then Rav Kahane set his sights on Israel. And he made Aliyah. And he said, this is a national tragedy. What's going on here? He had local issues in New York, Brooklyn, national tragedy. In Russia, that had to be worked out on a massive level, 3 million Jews. And now, the whole country is not going to survive without recognizing that we have a major problem. There's so many Arabs here that are rioting against the Jews and making it clear. Maybe now we don't have the power. It's going to come a day. I'm going to run you guys out of town. And he wrote about it, and they must go. Documented it with thousands and thousands of quotes from what many of the Arabs within Israel, outside of Israel, were saying, and the reaction of the Jewish establishment. Again, you have a Seder, it's fine, it's all right. He said, wake up. So that was his life. Lo ta'amod al dam re'echa. You see Jews in trouble, you cannot sit by idly. You must do something about it. You must be active. And that just fueled him in everything he did. How he went about it in each case was different. And one could challenge what he did in this case, in that case. But that has to be analyzed. But the idea of just being fired up in defense of the Jewish people, everyone has to see that and take that away from Rav Meir Kahane Hashem Yikom Damo. May his memory be for a blessing and an inspiration. May we learn from this holy man's life. Shalom.